the champ now.
Yes, I didn't say. What are you looking so sad about, champ?
I'm surprised at you. I mean, I'm really insulted. I mean, that's not right what you just said.
What do you mean? What I just said?
I mean, I'm getting drink of water. I'm late getting home, but you talk. I said something about the greatest heavyweight champ, man. I'm a hometown man, and you talking about Joe Louis, man. Joe Louis wouldn't be nothing for me. Joe, I tell you, Joe, do you think you would have stood a chance with me?
Well, Clay, one time during my career, I was on a Formula One tour.
I would have been a bum compared to you.
What's happening, my people? It's Cat Sports again, back for another afternoon with the family. That's right. You know what time it is. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Boxtorian bringing you all of that boxing history. Boxing is the greatest sport of them all. That's why we love it. Can't get enough of it. Miss Cass, 21 YGL green light. Salute to everyone and welcome to another episode of Cass Sports, the Boxtorian. Today, the Super 6 World Boxing Classic. That's right, the Super 6 World Boxing Classic. We're going to take an in-depth look at this tournament today. Great tournament. They need more like this. You know, Andre Ward came out of it, the unified WBA, WBC champion. The other two sanctioning bodies, IBF, WBO, didn't get involved. But that's what we need nowadays. It don't even have to be a Super 6. It can be a 10, 12, whatever. But we need to have these tournaments, unify some of these belts, you know, because at that point, before the tournament at 168, all the belts were spread out in different hands, and it came out of it with WBA, WBC, and Ring Magazine unified. So today, the Super 6 World Boxing Classic, we're going to take a deep look at that today. The participants, the organizers, the scoring, all of that today. Take a look at each of the fights. All that today on Cash Sports The Box Story, bringing you all of that boxing history. Okay, but now let's get into our fight of the day so we can get this thing going. So now, without further ado, today's fight of the day. Okay, the fight of the day today is Carl Froch versus George Groves. November 23rd, 2013. A premature stoppage that caused outrage. Okay? In the 168-pound division, too. Froch versus Groves. November 23rd, 2013, a premature stoppage that caused outrage, okay? Yeah, we're focusing on the 168-pound division today. So let's get started with our fight of the day today. Froch versus Groves. This was a 168-pounder, okay? Let's salute 21 YGL Green Light in the building so far. Appreciate you. Happy holidays. Hope you had a great Christmas. And now we're right at the weekend. All right. Froch versus Groves, 12 years ago. Okay? So, they're good friends today, now. But rewind to 12 years ago, to November 23rd, 2013, and British super middleweights Carl Froch and George Groves could easily have been looked at as two men who genuinely despise one another, okay? In the lead up to the fight that would see the Cobra, Carl Froch, defend his WBA and IBF 168-pound belts, Groves embarked on a relentless campaign of psychological warfare. And it worked, okay? Yeah. It worked on Froch, the psychological warfare that Groves engaged in. Okay? Yes, it did. Worked well. Froch will admit it. There's a nice shot of the two. Froch on the left, Groves on the right, Eddie Hearn in the middle, right there. Mike Masick, salute, and Mike Rem in the building. Happy Friday, gentlemen. Happy holidays. Okay. Fighters today is Carl Froch and George Groves. We're focusing on 168 today. Those were 268-pounders. 12 years ago, November 23rd, 2013. So Groves engaged in psychological warfare on Carl Froch, and it worked. Okay? Froch today admits Groves did a sound job as far as the challenger doing what he wanted to do. And that's get under Froch's skin. Froch said, "My blood was boiling," he says today, when looking back. When we came together and did a gloves are off for this fight, for the first fight, he said I was going to start crying. And Froch now admits he was doing a great job. My blood was boiling. Groves rattled Froch like no man had ever managed. And that was before the fight started in the ring. Because he rattled him in the ring too, right? Now, Froch was convinced Groves was not in his class. Froch had, of course, more than earned his spurs with great wins over the likes of Mikhail Kessler, John Pascal, Arthur Abraham, Lucian Butte, and other formidable operators in the super middleweight division, okay? And he didn't train as intensely for Groves as he normally did in other fights, right? And he paid for it. That's the result right there. Not training. That's Froch laying on his backside there, right? Didn't train like he normally did. Now Froch had even felt that Groves could not hurt him. So proven was Froch's chin. But in a memorable first round, Groves scored a heavy knockdown. Froch being seriously hurt from a cracking overhand right to Froch's chin towards the end of the first round. Now Froch, who got back up purely on instinct and barely made it through the round, knew now he was in a real fight. And he said later, "I've got it up there with probably the worst beatings I've ever taken," Froch said, of the Groves fight. That's what he says now, one of the worst beatings he ever took. He added, "He was far ahead on the cards. He dropped me in the first round. He beat me up the worst I've ever been beaten." Okay? Wow. So, Froch, showing his inner warrior, regrouped, and a fantastic battle ensued inside a rocking Manchester arena in Manchester, England. Groves, the younger man by over a decade, was boxing brilliantly, his fast hands serving him well as he outboxed Froch, preventing the champion from getting inside and getting into a rhythm. Groves was winning the rounds, building what looked to some like an insurmountable lead. But then, in the 9th round, referee Howard Foster made a call that was later referred to as one of the most controversial in modern-day British boxing history. Froch got home with some rights to his tormentor's head and body, with Groves stumbling around the ring. So Froch, sensing a chance, fired off more right hands to the head as Groves tried to clinch. Groves then went back into the ropes, and the referee Howard Foster jumped in and stopped the fight. Okay? Crazily, he jumped in and stopped it. Groves was utterly disgusted, as there were plenty of fans. At the time of the stoppage, Groves was up on all 3 cards, 78-73 and 76-75 on the other 2. So there just had to be a rematch to this. Okay? Just had to have a rematch after that. Okay? And there was a rematch. And when it happened, the bad blood was still very much there. Perhaps even worse by the second fight, because Groves engaged in his trash talking again in between the fights, especially after what happened in the first one. He dropped Froch and had the premature stoppage. So yeah, the trash talk was even worse in the rematch. So a massive fight that captured the attention of the entire nation in Great Britain. Froch Groves 2 sold out Wembley Stadium. This time, Froch on top of his game due to the way he had trained, the way a rematch with the more than worthy Groves demanded. So Froch went out and trained this time, and he got the clean knockout in round 8. And this ended the bitter rivalry between the two. And they became friends later on in life. Okay? But on November 23rd, 2013, and for many weeks afterwards, Groves had many people convinced he would end Froch's reign and his career if the rematch happened. Now, there are no hard feelings between the two today, with Froch and Groves being friends and former champions who have plenty of respect for each other. Okay? Nobody does it like Groves did it, Froch says today, referring to Groves' efficiency as a trash talk. Together, these two super middleweights gave us a whole lot of fun and the two memorable fights. Carl Froch and George Groves. Fight of the day. Here's your winner, Carl Froch. Two memorable fights between him and George Groves. Okay. So today we're going to dig deep into the Super 6 World Boxing Classic. Okay. And, we're going to realize after we do this, we're going to realize how bad they need some of these tournaments nowadays, because Andre Ward came out of that unified with two of the belts. WBA and WBC sanctioned the tournament, and Mikhail Kessler had the WBA going, and Froch had the WBC, and Ward came out with both of them, and the Ring Magazine belt. Okay, they need some of those nowadays because before the tournament, all the belts were in 4 different hands. Okay, so that was a very good thing, having the Super 6 tournament and unifying the division like that. Okay, but first, let's do a little quick history of the 168-pound division. Okay. Let's see. I had it sitting in there, now it's gone. Wow. Okay, we'll be okay. But how's everybody? It's Friday. There we go. Yeah, we're gonna do a little quick history of the 168-pound division. There's the 6 participants that participated in the Super 6 right there. Okay. All right. Now, boxing super middleweight division, weight limit of 168, emerged in the mid-1980s as a bridge between middleweight and light heavyweight, officially recognized by bodies like the IBF in 1984, the WBA 1987, and WBC 1988, with Murray Sutherland and Sugar Ray Leonard as early champions, gaining huge UK, and the division gained huge UK fame with Nigel Benn, Chris Eubank, peak dominance from Joe Kawasaki, and the recent global spotlight with Canelo Alvarez's undisputed reign, making 168 a division known for power, skill, and iconic rivalries. Now, the need for the class came in the 1980s. A gap existed between the 160-pound middleweight division and the 175-pound light heavyweight limit, prompting calls for a class for bigger, stronger boxers. We talked about this Monday. The IBF recognized Murray Sutherland as the first world champion in 1984. Okay? Now, the WBA and WBC entry. The WBA crowned Chong Pao Park in 1987, while the WBC launched this title with Sugar Ray Leonard beating Donnie Lalonde in 1988 in a historic fight for 2 belts. And then a heyday in Britain and Ireland in the 1990s. The division exploded in popularity in the UK with fierce battles between Nigel Benn, Chris Eubank, and Michael Watson, known for high drama and tragedy. And then Steve Collins, these are all British fighters, British dominance. Steve Collins, Richie Woodhall, and Robin Reed also held titles, building a strong fan bases in Great Britain. And then the American stars came along in the 90s. James Lights Out Tony and Roy Jones Jr. also reigned, with Jones Jr.'s win over Tony being a classic fight. At 168, a classic, yeah. And in the modern era, the 2000s up to the present, Joe Kawasaki's reign. The Welshman unified titles and retired undefeated 46-0 in 2008, solidifying the division's elite status. And then what we're going to talk about today, the Super 6 tournament. The mid-2000s saw the Super 6 World Boxing Classic, featuring fighters like Andre Ward, Carl Froch, and Mikhail Kessler, showcasing top talent. Okay? Then Canelo Alvarez came along. The Mexican superstar achieved undisputed status. WBC, WBA, IBF, WBO in 2021, becoming the first in the 4-belt era. And he dominated the division for years, cementing the current global relevance, okay? Until September when Bud Crawford came along. Yeah, that was just a little history on the super middleweight division, though. Your Canelo dominated for years, and then Bud came along and took his titles, and now Bud's retired. So we have to see what happened with the division now, since all this has happened, you know. But let's talk about the Super 6 World Boxing Classic today, okay? We're going to dig down deep into this tournament. Great tournament, and they need one of these in every division, to tell you the truth. Especially the ones where the belts all spread out, you know. Like 140 would be good, and 154. It don't have to be a Super 6. It can be 8, 10, 12 fighters. It's going to take a while because I think the Super 6 took like over 2 years, because it's not like a basketball tournament. You can't box every couple of days, you know, so it's going to take a while, but, you know, the end goal is to get the division unified, right? Okay, let's go with today's show. The Super 6 World Boxing Classic. All right. Now, the Super 6 World Boxing Classic was a professional boxing tournament in the super middleweight division, 168 pounds. It was organized by Showtime Sports in cooperation with Soundland Events, featuring 6 of the top-ranked fighters in a structured competition that spanned from October 2009 to December 2011. Yeah, took 26 months, a little over 2 years. Okay, now the tournament was conceived to determine the premier super middleweight champion by pitting elite boxers against each other in a high-stakes format, addressing the division's fragmentation among multiple sanctioning bodies. Now, the initial 6 participants were Andre Ward from the United States. He became the WBA champion during the tournament. Carl Froch from the United Kingdom came in as the WBC champion. Jermaine Taylor from the United States. Mikkel Kessler came in as the WBA champion. Ward ended up with it later during the tournament. Mikkel Kessler from Denmark. Andre Durrell from the United States. And Arthur Abraham from Germany. And these fighters were selected based on their rankings and title holdings at the time of the announcement in mid-2009, okay? So, injuries led to substitutions, with Alan Green replacing Taylor after the first round with withdrawal, and Glenn Johnson stepping in for Durrell prior to the semifinals of the tournament, okay? Super 6 Boxing Classic today. Kind of interesting. Okay, now, the competition was divided into a group stage with round-robin fights among the 6 fighters, awarding 2 points for a win, plus 1 bonus point for a knockout, 1 point for a draw, and 0 for a loss. Now, the top 4 advanced to single elimination semifinals and a final. Once you got past the first round, 1 loss, you out. Now, notable group stage fights included Ward's technical decision victory over Kessler on November 21st, 2009, and Froch's split decision over Durrell on October 17th, 2009. Both were broadcast live on Showtime. Okay? So in the semifinals, Ward defeated Abraham by a 9th round TKO on May 14th, 2011, while Froch outpointed Johnson in a majority decision on June 4th, 2011, setting up the final on December 17th, 2011 at Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City, New Jersey, between Ward and Froch, okay? So Ward won the final by unanimous decision, scores of 115-113 twice, and 118-110. Wow, they saw that differently. 2 judges had it 115-113, and one had it almost a shutout, 118-110. Wow. Were they watching the same fight? But anyway, Ward retained the WBA title while capturing Froch's WBC belt and the Ring Magazine Championship, along with the tournament crown. along with winning the tournament. Okay, Andre Ward. So the event produced 12 fights in total and is credited with elevating the super middleweight division's prominence on U.S. television, though it faced criticism for scheduling delays due to injuries and logistical issues. Its success inspired later tournaments like the World Boxing Super Series or the WBSS. Right, it did inspire later tournaments. So now let's look at the background and organization of the tournament, okay? Background and organization of the Super 6 World Boxing Classic. That's what we're getting into today, okay? Background and organization. All right. Yeah, I gotta keep track of where I met on this thing. There we go. Background and organization. All right. Announcements and objectives. Okay. Announcements and objectives. I wanted the WBA up there, not the WBC. There we go. All right. Announcements and objectives for the tournament. Okay. Now, the Super 6 World Boxing Classic was announced on July 13, 2009 by Showtime Sports in collaboration with Sound-led Events, introducing a novel round-robin tournament designed to showcase the elite of the super middleweight division over an 18-month period. Now, the event brought together 5 major promoters to organize the competition, which was unveiled at a news conference in New York City, highlighting its ambition to elevate professional boxing through structured, high-profile fights. Okay? So, the tournament's primary objectives centered on crowning a unified super middleweight champion by unifying the WBA, WBC, and the Ring Magazine titles, which were held by participating fighters in the event. And this was going to be done by a competitive format that ensured multiple defenses and eliminations among the contenders. Now, the approach aimed to resolve ongoing debates over divisional supremacy by pitting undefeated or reigning champions against each other in a merit-based progression, ultimately producing a clear world title holder recognized across major sanctioning bodies. Okay? WBA and WBC were the 2 sanctioning bodies that sanctioned the tournament. And the winner came out with both of their belts, right? Andre Ward. So, emerging amid a period of title fragmentation in the 168-pound class, where multiple belts were scattered among fighters, like Mikkel Kessler had the WBA and Carl Froch came in with the WBC. Diluting the division's clarity and appeal, the Super 6 sought to revive excitement through a tournament-style spectacle akin to historic boxing eliminators by featuring a combined record of 161 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw, with 117 knockouts among the initial entrants to the tournament. The event positioned itself as a definitive platform to consolidate prestige and draw a global viewership to the 168-pound weight class. Okay? So now let's look at the organizers and the promoters now to this event. Okay? Organizers and promoters of the Super 6. Okay, here we go. Organizers and promoters. So, the Super 6 World Boxing Classic was primarily organized by Showtime Sports, the U.S. Broadcasting Network, in collaboration with Sound-led Event, a prominent European promotional company led by Wilfred and Katie Sowlin. Now, Showtime Sports, under Senior Vice President and General Manager Ken Hirschman, spearheaded the tournament's conceptualization and execution, handling broadcasting rights and overall coordination across its multi-year format. Now, Sowlin Event played a crucial role in facilitating European-based fights and leveraging their regional expertise to ensure logistical support for international participants. Okay? So, the tournament involved a consortium of 5 leading promoters who represented the participating fighters and contributed to matchmaking and event promotions. Okay? These are the promoters that were involved. Lou DiBella of DiBella Entertainment represented Jermaine Taylor. Dan Goosen of Goosen Tudor Promotions represented Andre Ward. Mick Hennessy of Hennessy Sports represented Carl Froch. Gary Shaw of Gary Shaw Productions represented Andre Durrell, and the Sowlins represented Mikkel Kessler and Arthur Abraham. These promoters collaborated closely with Showtime to align fighter schedules and secure high-profile venues, though tensions occasionally arose over fight placements and purse splits. Okay? Wasn't all smooth and everything, because you got all these different promoters and egos and everything. So there was some things to get ironed out, but it ended up being a successful tournament. So financially, Showtime Sports provided the bulk of the backing, investing in high-quality production values, travel logistics, and site fees for events held in both the United States and Europe, which helped elevate the tournament's global appeal, despite its ambitious scope. Sowlin Event supplanted this by managing costs for European leagues, including arena arrangements in Germany and the UK, ensuring seamless cross-continental operation. Okay, so the World Boxing Council and the World Boxing Association, WBC and WBA, offered official support, endorsing the tournament format and permitting title defenses within its structure. So the WBA and WBC were on the line, such as Carl Froch's WBC super middleweight belt and Mikkel Kessler's WBA title, to add prestige and stakes to the competition. Now, this involvement from the sanctioning bodies helped legitimize the event as a pathway to unified championships, culminating in Andre Ward's victory, unified the WBA, WBC, and the Ring Magazine titles at the end of the tournament, okay? So now, let's look at the format and the rules for this tournament, okay? Format and the rules. Format and rules. Tournament structure. The Super 6 World Boxing Classic was contested exclusively in the super middleweight division with a weight limit of 168 pounds. All fights in the tournament were scheduled for the maximum 12 rounds and governed by the unified rules of professional boxing as established by the Association of Boxing Commissions. This format ensured a high level of competitive intensity while adhering to standard title fight protocols, with world championships such as the WBC and WBA super middleweight titles placed at stake in select matchups. Okay? Now, the overall structure featured an initial group stage segmented into 3 distinct phases, incorporating round-robin elements, where each participant was slated to compete in 3 fights against different opponents to accumulate points. Now, following the group stages, the top 4 fighters based on points advanced to a single elimination knockout phase, consisting of semifinals, pitting the first place finisher against the 4th and the 2nd place against the third, and a final fight between the semifinal winners. Okay? So originally structured around a field of 6 fighters, the tournament adapted to unforeseen withdrawals by incorporating replacement participants, which altered group compositions and scheduling in later phases without fundamentally changing the progression criteria. So all the people, when people dropped out and they had replaces, everything went smoothly with that though, okay? So to balance the interests of promoters and maximize global appeal, events rotated across venues in the United States and Europe, including Nottingham in England for fights involving British contenders, Oakland in California for American hosted fighters, and Berlin in Germany to accommodate European participants. Now the tournament timeline extended from the launch in October 2009 through the final in December 2011, okay? Marked by multiple postponements, primarily attributed to injuries among the competitors, such as eye issues and back problems that disrupted planned matchups. These delays extended the competition over more than 2 years, testing the organizational resilience of the event. Okay, so now we have the scoring. There's just the competitors again. So now we're going to look at the scoring and advancement in the event. Scoring and advancement. The Super 6 World Boxing Classic employed a points-based system to rank participants during the group stage, determining advancement to the knockout rounds. Now, win by knockout or technical knockout awarded 3 points to the winner, while a win by unanimous or majority decision granted 2 points. A draw resulted in 1 point for each fighter, and a loss yielded 0 points. No contest outcomes, such as those due to accidental fouls or injuries, awarded no points to either participant, okay? Losses or no contests, you didn't get anything. Now, advancement from the group stage was based on the cumulative points table, with the top 4 fighters progressing to the semifinals. In the semifinals, the highest seeded fighter faced the 4th seed, and the 2nd seed faced the 3rd. In single elimination fights, the winners of the semifinals then competed in the final to determine the tournament champion, okay, who would claim unified super middleweight titles. So, tiebreakers resolved any deadlocks in points standings for seeding purposes. First, head-to-head results were considered. The winner of a direct matchup between tied fighters received the higher seeding. If no head-to-head fight occurred, or if it was inconclusive, the fighter with the most knockouts or TKOs in the tournament was seeded higher. Should ties persist after that, total scorecard points from all tournament fights served as the decider, calculated as follows. For fights ending in stoppage, knockout, TKO, disqualification, technical decision, the winner earned 10 points for each incomplete round, and the loser earned 8 points per incomplete round. For fights going the full distance, the winner got 8 points per round, and the loser earned 10 points per round. For draws, both men 10 points per round. Okay? Now, the tournament carried significant implications for world titles held by participants, including Carl Froch's WBC super middleweight belt, and Mikhail Kessler and Andre Ward ended up with the WBA title during the tournament. Kessler was stripped. We're going to get to that. Now, sanctioning bodies agreed that these titles could only be lost or won against fellow tournament entrants, because some fighters did fight outside the tournament during the tournament, because it took 2 years, right? So, but the sanctioning bodies agreed that the titles could only be won or lost during the tournament against people that were actually in the tournament. So if you fought outside the tournament during the tournament, that was considered a non-title fight. This ensured defenses occurred exclusively within the Super 6 format and elevating the stakes for unification. Okay, so now let's look at the participants. Let's take a look at the participants in the tournament now. Taking a deep look at the Super 6 World Boxing Classic today. Now we are going to look at the participants. There's the 6 again. Participants. Okay. The original field, because there was some changes, remember. So these were the original 6. The original field for the Super 6 World Boxing Classic, announced on July 13, 2009, featured 6 elite super middleweight contenders, selected to represent a balance of established champions, experienced former champions, and rising undefeated prospects from both sides of the Atlantic. This mix aimed to guarantee high-stakes matchups and broad international appeal, drawing from current world-ranked fighters, Olympic medalists, and knockout artists to crown an undisputed division leader. Okay, so here are the original 6 participants in the Super 6 tournament, okay? Okay, let's go. Here's the original 6 participants in the Super 6 tournament. Oh my goodness, okay. Oh boy. Bear with me for a moment, please. Because I don't know what I'm doing. Here we go. Yeah, we trying to get the original 6 participants in the thing. All right, here we go. Andre Ward from the United States entered with an undefeated record of 20 wins, no losses, 13 knockouts, and was a 2004 Olympic gold medalist in the light heavyweight division, positioning him as a technically skilled, unbeaten contender, eager for his first world title shot. Okay, Andre Ward. Arthur Abraham, representing Germany, but born in Armenia. He had a perfect 30-0 record, 24 knockouts, as the IBF middleweight champion, right? He was middleweight champion, and he was moving up in weight for this tournament. He was known for his aggressive knockout, but his title was not on the line because this was exclusively 168, but he was the middle 160 champion coming in. And never fought at 168, but moving up for the tournament. Abraham was known for his aggressive knockout power and defensive resilience in high volume punch output. Okay, Arthur Abraham. The next participant was the Cobra, Carl Froch. Carl Froch from the United Kingdom. He had a record of 25-0 with 20 knockouts, while holding the WBC super middleweight title coming into the tournament, renowned as a durable British puncher with a granite chin and experience against top opposition. So the top 3 were all undefeated: Ward, Abraham, and Froch. So the other 3 original entrants, okay, Jermaine Taylor, another American and former undisputed middleweight champion. He brought a season 28 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw record with 17 knockouts into the tournament, offering veteran savvy for multiple title defenses despite a recent knockout loss. Okay? Next participant is Mikkel Kessler. Okay? Mikkel Kessler from Denmark, a European veteran fighter, entered the tournament with 42 wins, just 1 loss, 32 knockouts, as the reigning WBA super middleweight champion. Okay, those were the 2 belts on the line. Froch had WBC, Kessler came in as the WBA super middleweight champion. And he was celebrated for his precise combinations and long reign atop the division. Okay, and finally, rounding out the original field, because there were some changes. Some people did drop out. But rounding out the original field was Andre Durrell, another American Olympian. He had the bronze medal in 2004. I think that was in Greece, right? He was also undefeated at 18-0 with 12 knockouts. He was noted for his athletic southpaw style, quick footwork, and potential as a future star. So 4 of the 6 is undefeated. Technique in the building. What's up, Technique? Salute. We're taking a deep look at the Super 6 Boxing Classic today. Seeing just why we need more of these things. Very successful tournament. WBA, WBC sanctioned it, and the winner came out with 2 unified with their belts. Because going into the tournament, all the belts were spread out, right? So yeah, and Abraham was actually the middleweight IBF champion. That wasn't on the line because it was all 168, and Abraham was moving up for the first time. So 4 of the 6 were undefeated, and Kessler only had 1 loss. Okay, so those are the participants in this thing. Okay, so the selection criteria emphasized a competitive blend of reigning champions, Croach, Kessler, Abraham. Abraham was moving up. He was a champion at 160. Proven contenders, Jermaine Taylor, because he had been undisputed before, remember? In the 4 belt, he had been undisputed. And proven contenders and undefeated Olympic titles like Andre Ward and Durrell, capturing the tournament, ensuring the tournament showcase the super middleweight division's depth without favoring any single region or style. So now we was talking about, let's look at the replacements and the withdrawals, because these were the original 6, but we had a couple people that left. Yeah, it was great, wasn't the Technique? We had a couple people that Ward ended up. A couple people that got out, and he had some. Let's look at the replacements and withdrawals. That's what I was trying to look at the chat and read at the same time. But replacements and withdrawals. Okay. So the Super 6 World Boxing Classic experienced several withdrawals that necessitated replacement and adjustments to maintain the tournament's integrity. Now, Jermaine Taylor, one of the original participants, withdrew in January of 2010 following his knockout loss to Arthur Abraham in the Stage 1 opener on October 17, 2009. So Taylor only had 1 fight before he left the tournament, okay? This marked Taylor's 3rd defeat in his last 4 fights, prompting him to step away from the tournament without fully retiring from boxing, though. And he was replaced by his British super middleweight contender, Alan Green, okay? He was replaced by Alan Green. There's Alan. Nope, that's not Alan. That's Durrell again. There's Alan. Yeah, Taylor was replaced by him. Another British fighter, Alan Green. And Green entered the tournament in February 2010, and he competed in Group B, right? He came in on the 2nd round because Taylor did have 1 fight. So subsequent withdrawals further complicated the schedule. Andre Durrell pulled out in October 2010 after his controversial disqualification victory over Arthur Abraham in Stage 2 on March 27, 2010, where he sustained a head injury from an accidental headbutt. So Durrell cited ongoing neurological issues stemming from the incident, raising safety concerns that jeopardized his career. Now, no direct replacement was named for Durrell, but to address the resulting imbalance in Group B, where Durrell's exit left Andre Ward without a Stage 3 opponent, organizers scheduled a special matchup between Green and a new entrant, okay, to be named. Now, Green, who had already lost decisions to Ward in June 2010 and to Abraham earlier, before these were in the tournaments though. He did not withdraw formally, but was eliminated after this fight and ceased participation. Okay? Because only the top 4 was going to go to the semifinals, and Green was not one of the top 4. He was a replacement, but he was out fast, right? He got eliminated right away. So then, Mikhail Kessler's withdrawal added another layer of disruption, so they had to get a replacement this time. So the WBC super middleweight champion exited in August 2010 due to a retinal tear in his right eye. Remember, Kessler had the WBC belt. So he left due to a retinal tear in his right eye, sustained during his April 24th, 2010 technical decision loss to Carl Froch in stage 2. This injury prevented his participation in stage 3 and stripped him of his title as the WBC mandated activity to retain it. Because remember, the WBC said once that tournament started, you could only win or lose your title in that tournament. So when the winner of the tournament had to get that WBC title. So when Abraham left the tournament, the WBC didn't have any choice but to strip it because they were under contract. Whoever won the tournament had to get the WBC belt. So Mikhail Kessler couldn't take that belt with him when he left the tournament. WBC had no choice but to strip it. So that's why Kessler was stripped, okay? Because the belt had to go to the winner. So Kessler was replaced by veteran, former light heavyweight champion, Glenn Johnson, okay? There's Glenn Johnson. He replaced Kessler. So they had to get a replacement this time. Okay, Glenn Johnson replaced Kessler. And Glenn Johnson came in for stage 3 in October 2010. Johnson faced Green on November 6, 2010, securing a knockout victory in the 8th round that eliminated Green and positioned Johnson in the semifinals. So that's how Green got eliminated. He came in and he replaced Taylor, and he fought Johnson, and he lost. And Johnson got a good draw because he came in stage 3. He only fought one time, and he got in the semifinal because he was a replacement. You know, Abraham fought his first 2 fights. I mean, not Abraham, Kessler. So Green came in stage 3. Kessler had fought in 1 and 2 already. So when Green won in stage 3, he went to the semifinals with just 1 fight, right? He got a pretty good draw. So these changes led to uneven participants and logistical challenges, with Johnson competing in only 1 group stage fight compared to others in multiple fights, contributing to delays across 5 countries over 26 months. But that wasn't Johnson's fault. It's just like now he's Mikhail Kessler. Kessler fought in 1 and 2. Johnson picked up in Kessler's spot in stage 3, right? So really, Johnson's just Mikhail Kessler, right? He only fought 1 time, and he goes to the semifinals. Kessler fought his other 2 fights for him. So some fighters had to fight 3 times in the group stage round, and Johnson came in at the perfect time. He only had 1 fight. He won it. He in the semifinals. Now the withdrawals prompted format tweaks, including forfeit points for Ward, 2 points from Durrell's exit, and adjusted tiebreakers, ensuring the tournament proceeded to its knockout phase despite the disruption. Okay? So let's look at exactly what happened in the group stage. These fights we were talking about. We're going to take a look at the fights now. They went down in those stages. Let's take a look at the group stages, okay? Stage 1 result. These are the fights I was just talking about that happened, but we're gonna take a look in depth at them now. Remember, there were 3 stages to get to the semifinals. Stage 1. Oh man. Okay, bear with me, please. I didn't mess up. Stage 1 results. Okay, so stage 1 of the Super 6 World Boxing Classic group stage commenced with 3 high-profile fights in late 2009, setting the tone for the tournament's competitive intensity. On October 17, 2009, at the O2 World Arena in Berlin, Germany, Arthur Abraham secured a dramatic victory over Jermaine Taylor by knockout in the 12th round, earning 3 points under the tournament scoring system that awarded 2 points for a win plus a bonus point for the knockout. Okay? Arthur Abraham, fighting before a home crowd, overcame an early deficit versus Jermaine Taylor, controlling the action with his jab and movement. However, from the 5th round onward, Abraham's pressure and power shifted the momentum, culminating in a precise right hand that floored Taylor with 6 seconds remaining, exposing the American's vulnerability to late knockouts following prior brain surgery recovery. Okay? This result highlighted Abraham's resilience and punching accuracy, marking his 31st professional win without a loss. Remember, Abraham came in undefeated. He was also the middleweight title, but this was at 168. Okay, Kensaw Love 1 and Jaw in the building. We're taking a look at the Super 6 tournament that took place from 2009 to 2011, and we need some of these tournaments nowadays. But salute Jaw and Kensaw Love 1. Okay, we're in the first phase of the tournament now. Okay, so also on October 17th, 2009, at the Nottingham Arena in Nottingham, England, Carl Froch defeated Andre Dirrell by majority decision, 117-111, 116-115, and 115-115, retaining his WBC super middleweight title and earning 2 points for the win. The fight was controversial, with Dirrell's movement and counters frustrating Froch, but judges favored the champion's pressure. And remember, the WBA and WBC sanctioned this tournament, and their belts were on the line. And remember, Froch came in with the WBA and Kessler came in with the WBC. And remember, Kessler left the tournament, so the WBC had to strip it because they were under contract in this tournament that the winner had to have their belt around his waist, whoever won it. So when Kessler left the tournament, they had no choice but to strip it. Okay, the third fight of Stage 1 occurred on November 21st, 2009 at Oracle Arena in Oakland, California, where Andre Ward outpointed Mikkel Kessler by technical decision after the 11th round due to a severe cut sustained by the Danish champion. Ward, entering as an underdog without a world title, captured the WBA super middleweight belt and earned 2 points for the decision victory. Now, throughout the contest, he didn't get he got the WBA after Kessler was stripped, so that didn't happen yet. But he won the fight against Kessler. Now, Ward came in as an underdog without a world title. Okay, he earned 2 points for the decision victory. And throughout the fight, Ward demonstrated tactical dominance with superior footwork, jabs, and counterpunching, repeatedly studying Kessler and opening cuts above both eyes by the 8th round, which impeded the veteran's vision and led to the stoppage despite Ward's control from the outset. Now, this performance underscored Ward's technical prowess and adaptability, propelling him to the forefront of the tournament. Okay. All right. Talking about the Super 6 today. Now, following these outcomes, the point standings after Stage 1 reflected Abraham with 3 points, Ward because Abraham got a win and a knockout. You get a 2 for the win, 1 for the bonus point for the knockout. So Abraham had 3. Ward had 2 because he won his fight. Froch had 2 for his win. While Taylor, Kessler, and Dirrell earned 0. But it wasn't a single elimination yet, so they all remained in the tournament. Okay? So then Stage 2 results. Stage 2 results. Super 6 Boxing World Boxing Classic today. We need more of these. Stage 2 results. Okay. Now, the second stage of the Super 6 World Boxing Classic held in early 2010. Because this ain't like a basketball tournament. You can't fight every couple of days. You know, a boxing tournament is going to take a while. So the first stage was in 2009, then the second stage was in 2010. Early 2010 featured 3 pivotal fights that reshaped the tournament standings and introduced significant drama. On March 27, 2010, at Joe Louis Arena in Detroit, Michigan, Andre Dirrell defeated Arthur Abraham by disqualification in the 11th round after Abraham delivered multiple punches following a referee's break, with Dirrell unable to continue due to the punches, landing while he was down. Okay? This marked Abraham's first career loss and stemmed from his growing frustration after trailing on the scorecards, including Dirrell's earlier knockdown of Abraham in the 4th round, the first of Abraham's professional career. And these were Abraham's first fights at super middleweight, because he came up from middleweight for the tournament, okay? He was the IBF middleweight champion, but that wasn't on the line because this was strictly super middleweight belts, WBA, WBC. The IBF super middleweight title was not involved in it. So Dirrell earned 2 tournament points for the win. Okay, you get 2 for a win, 3 if it's a knockout. 1 bonus point for a knockout, okay? So in the rematch of their 2007 encounter, this was before the tournament, this first fight. The rematch was during the tournament. Mikkel Kessler reclaimed momentum on April 24th, 2010 at MCH Hall in Herning, Denmark, defeating Carl Froch by unanimous decision with scores of 117-111, 118-112, and 115-113 to win the WBC super middleweight title. Yeah, he took Froch's title. Oh, yeah. Ward did win the belt from Kessler in the first fight, WBA. Yeah, Kessler had lost that to Ward. Then he won the WBC from Froch in the 2nd round. Yeah. Excuse me, I got that a little mixed up. So, yeah, Ward took Kessler's title in the 1st round. And then in the 2nd round, Kessler became a champion again because he beat Froch for the WBC title. Okay? So, now, many observers felt Froch had done enough to retain his belt, right? And this loss disrupted Froch's undefeated streak and tested his resilience leading into later stages. Kessler's win netted him 2 points and positioned him strongly in the group, okay? Yeah, he got 2 points for the win and strong positioning in the group. So the stage concluded on June 19th, 2010 at Oracle Arena in Oakland, California, where Andre Ward dominated replacement opponent Alan Green, stepping in after Jermaine Taylor's withdrawal with a unanimous decision victory, 120-108 on all 3 cards, a shutout on all 3 cards. Andre Ward retained his WBA super middleweight title, which he had won from Kessler in the 1st round. Now, Ward's precise boxing and control overwhelmed Green, who cited post-fight that he had weight issues as a factor in his lackluster performance. And this secured Ward 2 points and clinched his semifinal berth, okay? These results highlighted the tournament's volatility, with disqualifications and debated decisions amplifying the competitive stakes. Now, there were 3 rounds in that 3 stages in that 1st round, but since Ward won in the first 2, he was guaranteed a semifinal spot because he's going to be one of the top 4. No way he couldn't, okay? So let's look at stage 3, the final stage of the 1st round. Stage 3 results, okay? Super 6 Boxing Classic today. Stage 3 results. All right. So, stage 3 of the Super 6 World Boxing Classic was held in late 2010. Remember, 2 was early in 2010. So later in the year, we go to stage 3. Because like I said, it ain't like a basketball tournament where you can play Saturday and then Monday, play another game. No, this is boxing. So stage 2 was in early 2010. Had to wait months, have another training camp, all that. Stage 3, late 2010. And this was significantly shortened due to multiple participant withdrawals that altered the original schedule, resulting in just 2 fights to conclude the group stage. On November 6, 2010, at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, Glenn Johnson defeated Alan Green by knockout in the 8th round, 236 of the 8th round, earning 2 points and securing his advancement to the semifinals, right? That's the fight on the screen. And remember, that was the only fight Glenn Johnson fought in the stage group in the first round, and because stage 1 and stage 2, Kessler fought. And then he got out of the tournament, so Glenn Johnson took Kessler's place. So all he had to do was win 1 fight, and he's in the semifinals, right? Because he took, say, just like Glenn Johnson became Mikhail Kessler. 1 fight, he went to the semifinals, right? And Johnson was a 41-year-old veteran, and he replaced the injured Mikhail Kessler. He overwhelmed Green with aggressive pressure and landed a decisive left hook to the body that dropped Green, prompting referee Robert Byrd to stop the fight, despite Green's protests. This victory highlighted Johnson's resilience, eliminating Green from the tournament and positioning Johnson as a surprise contender with a total of 6 points, because Johnson picked up Kessler's points. That's how he did it, right? Because he was his replacement. Kessler already had 4 points for 2 wins. Johnson got 2 for this win and picked up Kessler's 4 points. Okay? So the final group fight of this stage occurred on November 27, 2010 at Hartwall Arena in Helsinki, Finland, where Carl Froch defeated Arthur Abraham by unanimous decision with scores of 120-108 twice and 119-109 widely. Okay? And earning 2 points, right? Now, Froch, rebounding from an earlier tournament loss, dominated the fight with superior jab work and combination punching, outlanding Abraham with 238-92 in total punches, while avoiding significant counters from the power punching Abraham. This performance not only avenged Froch's prior defeat to Kessler, but also clinched his spot in the semifinals with 7 points overall, underscoring his technical edge in a lopsided affair. But for some reason, Johnson took Kessler's place. When the WBC stripped him, they awarded the belt to Abraham. And in this fight, Froch beat Abraham for the WBC belt, okay? And it worked out perfectly because the final, Ward and Froch each had a belt. So this is the final standings for the group stage right here, okay? Final standings for the group stage. At the conclusion of the group stage, first round, the Super 6 World Boxing Classic standings were determined by cumulative points earned scores across all 3 stages of the first round. Remember, wins were 2 points plus a 1 point bonus for a knockout. A draw, you got 1 point, and losses, you didn't get anything. Now, Andre Ward topped the table with 6 points, okay, from 2 actual fights, and an award that went over Andre Durrell following his withdrawal, okay, due to injury before their scheduled fight. Carl Froch secured 2nd place with 4 points from 3 fights. Remember, he won 2 of them, while Arthur Abraham earned 3 points from 3 fights. Glenn Johnson, who entered on a replacement for Mikhail Kessler in stage 3, accumulated 3 points from his single fight. Oh, he didn't get Kessler's points, but he got 3 points because he got a stoppage. And Durrell and Kessler got out of it, and Green didn't have any points. So, yeah, Johnson had 1 fight and went to the finals. The semifinals, okay? Okay, excuse me for a minute. One moment. Okay, here we go. Okay, we're in the group stages, right? I came all the way out. Really don't take but a second to get back to it. Oh, goodness, come on. How's everybody? It's Friday. Hope everybody had a good Christmas. Group stage. We're at the end of the group stage, okay? Okay, so let's continue. Yeah, final standings for the group stage. Okay, there we go. Okay, so yeah, Andre Durrell, 3 points. Glenn Johnson. Okay, so the top 4 advanced to the semifinals. There's 3 rounds, the group round, semifinals, and the final. And once you get to the semifinals, it's single fight elimination. 1 loss, you're gone. And the top 4 advanced to the semifinals with seeding based on points. Andre Ward claimed the top spot. Carl Froch second, Abraham third. Abraham and Johnson were tied for third. Now, since Abraham and Johnson had not faced head-to-head was the first tiebreaker. Johnson and Abraham had not faced each other, right? So the tiebreaker proceeded to knockouts. Both had won. So then they had to go to the judges' scorecard points from all tournament fights, where Johnson's superior total prevailed, seeding him third and Abraham fourth, okay? So these standings set the semifinal matchups as 1 win against 4, so Ward versus Abraham, May 14th, 2011, 2 win against 3, so Carl Froch went against Johnson on June 4th, 2011. Ensuring cross-group confrontations to determine the final participants. The knockout stage, this is the semifinals. Semifinals and finals, the knockout stage. Semifinals first. Okay? Semifinals first, knockout stage. The semifinals. Okay? So the semifinals of the Super 6 World Boxing Classic took place in 2011, pitting the top 2 performers from the group stage against each other in fights that determined the finalists, with world titles at stake, WBA, WBC on the line. The winner of the tournament had to come out with both belts. That's why Mikhail Kessler was stripped. He had the WBC, but he left the tournament, so the WBC didn't have any choice but to strip him. Okay? On May 14th, 2011, at the Home Depot Center in Carson, California, undefeated Andre Ward defended his WBA super middleweight title against Arthur Abraham in a dominant display of technical mastery. Ward controlled the pace throughout, using superior footwork and combination punching to outbox Abraham, who showed early aggression but faded under pressure. Now, Ward won by unanimous decision with scores of 120-108, 118-110, 118-111. He won widely, and Ward improved his record to 24-0, while dropping Abraham to 32-3. Abraham came into the tournament undefeated as the middleweight champion, but he still had his middleweight belt because, that wasn't on the line. First time ever at super middleweight for Arthur. Okay, so the second semifinal occurred on June 4th, 2011 at Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City, New Jersey, where Carl Froch defended his WBC super middleweight title against hard-hitting Glenn Johnson in a gritty back-and-forth fight. Okay? Now, Froch demonstrated resilience, absorbing Johnson's powerful shots and countering effectively to edge out a majority decision victory with scores of 117-111, 116, 112, and 114 to 114. This win advanced Froch to 28 wins and 1 loss. He suffered his first loss in this tournament to Mikkel Kessler, remember? While Johnson fell to 51 wins, 15 losses, 2 draws. Johnson was eliminated. And the semifinals and finals were both going to be in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Okay, so with both of these wins, both winners retaining their respective titles, Ward and Froch advanced to the tournament final, where a unified super middleweight champion would be crowned. Okay, coming out of this final. And there's Ward and Froch in the final matchup of the Super 6. The finale. Andre Ward with the WBA title. Carl Froch with the WBC title. Oh my God. It won't move something. But there we go. I'll get ready to say. So I'll get ready to go out. Now it's weird because Froch came into the tournament with the WBC. He lost it during the tournament. Then he ended up winning it back during the tournament, okay? So the final of the Super 6 World Boxing Classic took place on December 17th, 2011 at the Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City, New Jersey, pitting semifinal winners Andre Ward against Carl Froch for the super middleweight unification fight, WBA, WBC titles on the line. Now, originally scheduled for October 29th, 2011, the fight was postponed after Ward sustained a cut above his right eye during a sparring session on September 22nd, a week before the fight was scheduled, requiring 7 stitches and ruling him out of the initial date because it was supposed to be September 17th, remember? This was it was supposed to be October 29th. About a month before the fight, he got injured. So they changed it to December 17th, okay? So, in the 12-round main event, Ward, 24-0 with 13 knockouts, defended his WBA super middleweight title and captured Froch's WBC and ring super middleweight titles. Froch came in 28 wins, 1 loss, 20 knockouts. His 1 loss was suffered in this tournament. Ward won by unanimous decision with scores of 118-110 and 115-113 twice. Wow. That's what I understand these judges. You know, they're not going to have the exact same score, but that different. 115-113 is like what, 7-5 or something like that. And then 118-110 is like what, 9-3 or something. So wow, I just don't understand that. How these judges see the fight so differently. And I call that cheating, not bad judging, cheating. Anyway, Ward controlled the pace early with effective jab work and precise counterpunching, landing 243 of 573 total punches for 42%, not bad, compared to Froch's 156 of 683, 23%. Though Froch mounted a late rally in the final rounds, they proved insufficient to sway the judges, okay? And the win improved Andre Ward's record to 25-0 and concluded the tournament, establishing Ward as a unified WBA and WBC super middleweight champion. Now, there were some controversies and challenges during the tournament. Let's look at the controversies and challenges that went down during the tournament. You know, everything didn't go exactly smoothly, but it worked out okay. But let's look at some controversies and challenges that went on during the tournament now. Okay, Super 6. Controversies and challenges. Okay. The withdrawals and the format adjustments that had to be made. Yeah, that proved a little challenging. Okay, especially when you had got up into the second and third stages of round 1. Like Glenn Johnson They planned on every fighter having 3 fights in round 1, group 1, group 2, group stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 to accumulate points. But Johnson came in the 3rd stage of round 1 and only fought 1 time, and he won the fight, so he went to the semifinals. So the Super 6 World Boxing Classic faced significant disruptions from key withdrawals that necessitated structural changes to maintain the tournament's integrity, right? Jermaine Taylor, an original participant, withdrew in January 2010 following a 12th round knockout loss to Arthur Abraham in October 2009, citing the need for recovery time from the injury. Shortly after that, in October of 2010, Andre Durrell exited due to lingering neurological issues stemming from an illegal punch by Abraham during their March 2010 disqualification fight. And, Durrell won that by disqualification because of that punch, okay? And Durrell prioritized his long-term health and safety over continuing in the tournament. Then Mikkel Kessler, the WBC super middleweight champion at the time, withdrew in August 2010 because of a persistent eye injury, originally sustained in his November 2009 technical decision loss to Andre Ward, which had worsened despite medical treatment. And remember, once Kessler left the tournament, he had to be stripped because the WBC was under contract that, the winner of this tournament had to win their belt along with the WBA. So once Kessler left the tournament, they had no choice but to strip him. These exits prompted major format adjustments to the tournament's original 3-stage round-robin structure, which had envisioned each fighter competing against all others. With half the original field unavailable, Stage 3 shifted from a complete round-robin to a series of targeted elimination fights designed to identify the top 2 semifinalists based on points accumulated. Remember, Glenn Johnson only fought 1 time. To fill gaps, Alan Green replaced Taylor in early 2010, while Glenn Johnson replaced Kessler in late 2010 and participated in only 1 fight against Green in November 2010, securing his advancement to the semifinals. And Durrell didn't have a replacement, remember? They went on without a replacement for Durrell. So the withdrawals extended the tournament's duration to 26 months, from October 2009 to December 2011. They had planned on it only lasting 18 months, right? And that was compounded by multiple postponements due to injuries and scheduling conflicts. The final between Andre Ward and Carl Froch, originally slated for October 2011, was delayed by 7 weeks owing to a hand injury to Ward, ultimately occurring on December 17, 2011. Now, that wasn't too bad, though, because they planned it for 18 months. And with the injuries and withdrawals, it lasted 26 months. So 8 extra months, not bad at all. Didn't work out too bad. So, yeah. As far as Kessler, in response, the WBC stripped Kessler of his super middleweight title following his withdrawal, declaring it vacant in late 2010 to align with the tournament's progression. Yet they had no choice because the winner was going to have the WBA and WBC when they came out. The organization then awarded the belt to the winner of a Stage 3 fight between Froch and Arthur Abraham on November 27th, which was won by Froch, okay? And then we had some specific disputes in the tournament. Let's look at the specific disputes. Some people had some specific problems that they wanted to air. Let's take a look at them. Specific disputes in the tournament, okay? And one of the most contentious moments in the Super 6 World Boxing Classic occurred during the Stage 2 fight between Andre Durrell and Arthur Abraham on March 27, 2010 in Detroit, Michigan. And we talked about this a little bit just now. Now, Abraham, trailing significantly on the scorecards at 98-91 and 97-92 twice, entering the 11th round, pretty much needed a knockout. He repeatedly committed low blows throughout the fight, despite warnings from referee Lawrence Cole. In the 11th round, Durrell slipped to the canvas from a low blow, and Abraham struck him with a right hand while he was down, resulting in an immediate disqualification at 1:13 of the round, 11th round. So Abraham's promoter, Wilfred Sauerland, filed a formal protest with the WBC, arguing the foul was unintentional, but the decision stood, awarding Durrell the victory and 2 tournament points. How could it be unintentional when you was hitting the man low throughout the fight and the referee had warned you numerous times? Okay, they should have known he was going to lose that dispute. So Abraham vehemently protested the ruling post-fight, claiming bias and demanding a rematch, which highlighted ongoing tensions over officiating in high-stakes tournament matches. But yeah, they got that right. You know, the referee warned them the entire fight, right? Then on April 24th, 2010, the fight between Carl Froch and Mikkel Kessler in Denmark, that further fueled disputes over judging and venue impartiality. Kessler captured a unanimous decision victory with scores of 116-112, 117-111, and 118-110. That wasn't even close. He took Froch's WBC super middleweight title in that fight. And the outcome drew widespread criticism for apparent hometown scoring, as multiple observers, including ringside analyst Kevin Mitchell, scored the fight narrowly for Froch at 116-115, emphasizing his effective pressure and power shots over Kessler's cleaner technique. And Froch's camp labeled the decision a robbery. Now, he only gave it to him by 1 point. How the hell could it be a robbery? The guy that was complaining gave Froch the fight 116-115. You can't call a close fight like that a robbery. Come on, man. And Froch's camp called it a robbery, prompting threats of withdrawal from the tournament unless future fights were held on neutral ground, underscoring frustrations with the rotational venue system that often favored European hosts for non-U.S. fighters. Okay? So, title sanctioning issues emerged prominently in stage 3, particularly surrounding the WBC super middleweight belt vacated by Kessler after his eye injury forced his withdrawal following the Froch victory. So the WBC initially ordered the vacant title for the Ward-Durrell matchup, but following Durrell's withdrawal, it was awarded to the November 27, 2010 Froch-Abraham fight in Helsinki, Finland, which Froch won by unanimous decision, right? So he ended up with that title. But the reconfiguration drew accusations of favoritism toward European promoters, complicating the tournament's integrity. Okay? So, broader promoter conflicts exacerbated these disputes, with delays in scheduling and venue selections stemming from clashes between U.S.-based promoters like Lou DiBella and European entities such as Sauerland Events. Disagreements over hosting fights, often pitting Americans' preferences for stateside events against European demands for home country advantages, led to multiple postponements, including the relocation of Froch's fights from the UK to neutral sites like Monaco and Finland. That's right, because Froch's team was the main one complaining. So move him out of Great Britain then. So cool. They moved him out of the UK to Finland and Monaco. They were the main ones complaining. Then they're going to try to have Froch fighting the UK when his team was the main one complaining about site impartiality and saying that favoritism because of where the fights were at. And they're going to try to have Froch fight in the UK. Move his ass out of the UK like they did. So these logistical hurdles, compounded by a mid-tournament promoter replacement for one fighter, were cited as undermining the tournament's momentum and fairness. And then finally, non-tournament activity. Yeah, it was a long tournament, so some fighters had other fights outside of the tournament while they were in the tournament. But if you had a belt, any fight that you fought during the tournament that was not in the tournament had to be a non-title fight, because the WBA and WBC were contracted to go to the winner of the tournament. So like Andre Ward had the WBA, he fought outside the tournament a couple times during the tournament, but it had to be non-title fights because that WBA had to be resolved in the tournament. You know what I mean? Yeah. It had to go to the tournament winner, so he couldn't lose it outside the tournament. But non-tournament activity. Ward's title defense, that's what I was just talking about. During the Super 6 World Boxing Classic, Andre Ward, who had advanced undefeated from the group stage with victories over Mikkel Kessler and Alan Green, faced scheduling delays due to injuries among other participants, including Andre Dirrell's withdrawal from a planned matchup against Ward, right? Remember, Dirrell pulled out when he was getting ready to fight Ward. So remain active and fulfill his obligations as WBA super middleweight champion. Ward made an interim title defense outside the tournament against Sakio Biko on November 27, 2010 at the Oracle Arena in Oakland, California, which was a no-no. That belt couldn't change hands because he had the interim at that point. He hadn't got the WBA yet, so that was cool. Now the fight was a gritty 12 round because remember he beat somebody in the tournament for the full WBA. Now the fight was a gritty 12-round test of Ward's adaptability against Bika's aggressive, high-volume style. It is him and Bika right there. Ward and Bika, matter of fact. No, that ain't Ward and Bika. I think that's Ward and Bika right there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, Ward won that one. And it highlighted Ward's resilience and grittiness, okay? So let's go to the legacy of this thing. Legacy and impact. Because I gotta get out of here early in about 8 minutes. No, 8 and 5 is 13, about 13 minutes. So let's look at the legacy of the Super 6. It did help them have that other one, the WBSS, but they haven't had, I thought this would result in more tournaments, but it didn't. They need some, like 140, 154. It only had to be a Super 6. It can be 8, 10, 12, It's going to take a while, but the goal is to unify the belts, right? Because coming into this, all the belts were spread out, but coming out, you had one man had two of them at least, right? IBF and WB. Oh, I don't know why they didn't get in it, but it was a good thing though. Yeah, it was a very good thing. But legacy and impact of the tournament. Now the tournament outcome, okay, let's take a look at that. Now, Andre Ward emerged as the champion of the Super 6 World Boxing Classic after defeating Carl Froch in the final on December 17, 2011 at the Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City, New Jersey, by unanimous decision, right? This win elevated Ward's undefeated record to 25-0 with 13 knockouts, and it saw him unify the WBA, WBC, and the Ring Super Middleweight titles. And Ward came into the tournament, he didn't have a title, right? Now, Froch fell to 28-2. Both of his losses were in this tournament, too. Came into the tournament undefeated. 28-2 after the tournament with 20 knockouts. Roach was noted for his remarkable durability, soaking up significant punishment while maintaining strong legs and a history of dramatic comebacks in prior fights. Now, the tournament spanned 26 months and featured 11 fights across 5 countries, involving 6 original participants, alongside 3 withdrawals and 2 replacements that tested the event structure. Now, that didn't work out too bad, though, because they had 3 withdrawals, some injuries, and they had it originally slated for 18 months, but it ended up being 26. So 8 extra months with all that wasn't too bad at all, right? I don't think so. Yeah, had it scheduled for 18, ended up being 26, so that wasn't bad. through withdrawals, injuries, all that kind of, you can expect that kind of stuff. Now, despite these disruptions and several postponements, the Super Six delivered intense drama through its international scope and competitive matchups. In the immediate aftermath, Andre Ward was hailed as the undisputed top super middleweight globally, drawing comparisons to a bigger version of Floyd Mayweather Jr., for his technical mastery. Now, the event itself received acclaim for its gripping storylines and quality fights, even if the finale proved somewhat anticlimactic due to Andre Ward's dominance. Now, what influence did it have on the super middleweight division, this Super Six tournament? Influence on the division, 168-pound division. Okay? Like and subscribe, please, everyone. Appreciate y'all. Now, influence on the super middleweight division. The victory in the Super Six World Boxing Classic elevated Andre Ward to pound-for-pound elite status, as his unanimous decision over Carl Froch in the 2011 final propelled him from ninth in the ring's rankings to a top contender, solidifying his reputation as the premier super middleweight in the world, right? Ward subsequently defended his unified titles against high-profile opponents, including Chad Dawson in September 2012. Yeah, there's him and Chad Dawson right there, I think. No, I don't know who that is. There's him and Chad. Nope, Roach. That's Andre Llewellyn Froch right there. There's Andre Ward and Chad Dawson, I think. Okay, yeah. But he went up against some big names after the tournament, including Chad Dawson in September 2012, Edwin Rodriguez in November 2013, and Paul Smith in June 2014, before vacating the super middleweight belt in November 2015 to pursue light heavyweight unification fights, such as his series against Sergey Kovalev. You remember that one, where he achieved further acclaim as the world's top pound-for-pound light heavyweight. Okay? Now, the tournament marked the first major unification of the WBA, WBC, and the Ring Magazine super middleweight titles in years, with Ward's win over Froch creating a clear divisional hierarchy that influenced subsequent high-stakes fights, including Ward's transition to light heavyweight, where he pursued additional unifications. This outcome addressed long-standing fragmentation in the 168-pound class, providing a blueprint for resolving multiple belt disputes through competitive formats rather than alphabetical mandates, and formed the blueprint for other divisions too, right? And then the Super Six group stage and knockout structure directly inspired the World Boxing Super Series, the WBSS. That was launched in 2017 over a number of similar elimination format across a number of weight classes, remember? As key organizer Katie Sauerland, who co-created the original Super Six, adapted this model to ensure continuity amid sanctioning body challenges. She was also involved in the World Boxing Series, whatever they called it, Super Series, the WBSS, right? Yeah, she was also involved in that one. Now, while the Super Six tournaments faced mixed reviews due to extensive delays from injuries and withdrawals, spanning 26 months with multiple replacements, it was ultimately praised for delivering a definitive champion and revitalizing interest in the super middleweight division and boxing, though it underscored the need for robust contingencies against fighter absence. All right, the Super Six Boxing Classic, there you have it. Appreciate everybody. We are going to get ready to go, but that's the week. Monday, we are going to look at the youngest and oldest champion in each weight division. Like we know Mike Tyson is the youngest at heavyweight at 20. Big George Foreman is the oldest at heavyweight at 45. And we are going to do that for every division Monday, from heavyweight to minimum weight, 105, and all the other 15 in between. Okay? That's Monday. But Kensaw Love 1, Jaw, Technique, Mike Rem, Mike Mazik, 21 YGL Greenblight, and Miss Cass. Appreciate everybody 1,000,000%. And please, everybody, subscribe, like. I got 996, 4 from 1,000. Anybody got any kids or anything? Go get their phones and subscribe. Get the old man to 1,000. That would make my day. I wake up tomorrow and I got 1,000. But I appreciate everybody, though, 1,000,000%. We're going to get ready to get out of here because, you know, there's things to do. But hope everybody enjoyed today's show. Okay. And Monday, don't forget the youngest and the oldest in every weight class. Let me check something. Let me see if Just Do coming on today real quick before we get up out of here. But that's who I be warming y'all up for. Just Do Boxing. Balanced Unbiased Boxing Talk. Everybody gets to just do it over there, Just Do Boxing. But I don't think so, because he normally would be in here if he was coming on, so he would have his thumbnail up by now if he was coming. Let me check real quick. I just saw it. Yeah, Just Do Boxing up next today. Okay. That Balanced Unbiased Boxing Talk. Coming up next in these YouTube streets. And I'll be back Monday. Because if it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Boxtorian bringing you all that boxing history. Happy holidays. Everybody have a great weekend. This is Cass Sports, the Boxtorian. Appreciate y'all 1,000,000%.